One of my old friends taught me a lesson vividly back in 1933. There was a deep depression in this land. Many of you too young to remember it. But I am almost now 67. I went through the deep depression back in New York City. I was a dancer. And who would pay a dancer when you couldn't eat? All the theaters were closed. I don't think more than 3 theaters out of 50 were open in Times Square. So who wanted the dancer? I would have danced for anything for a meal, and no one wanted to play a dancer. So what would I do? I wanted to go to my little island called Barbados. And I had no money, but I went said no money, not just a little bit, but none. I said to my friend Abdullah, I would love to go to Barbados. He said to me, you are in Barbados. I said, I am in Barbados. He said, yes, you are now in Barbados. I didn't quite understand what he was telling. I learned it afterwards. He was telling me that if I want something, I must now, at that moment that I want it, assume that I have it. I want to go to Barbados. I am in Barbados. So this night, when I sleep in Barbados. How in my imagination. And how do I know I'm there? Think of New York City, where physically I'm sleeping, and see it to my north, 2,000 miles northwest of where I am in Barbad. Well, the months went by and I didn't see any evidence, so I said to him, Abe, if I don't make the next vote out, or no Ps were flying, no commercial planes were flying in those days, I can't go to Barbès. You said to me, you are going to Barbès, you are in Barbès. You can't discuss how you're going to Barbès when you are already in Barbès. Then he walked straight to his room and slammed the door in my face, which was not an invitation to follow him if you knew him. That's how he taught me I am asleep, as though I am in Barad. And when I went to bed, though, in New York City, I had assumed that I am actually in Barbados, and see New York City not under me, but to the north of me, 2,000 miles. And I woke within 48 hours after that moment, and under my door was a letter from my brother Victor. And in that letter he enclosed a small little draft, $50. Said, I have told the steamship company, the Furnace Wee Company, to issue you a ticket and charge it to me. The $50 is simply if you want some little thing like a suit of clothes. In those days you could buy a suit for $12. A fairly decent suit. You could buy a pair of shoes for $300. And 50 or 4, but he said the $50, just anything, you may need to get aboard the ship, but sign the chips. I'll meet the ship and pay all expenses, and I will pay all the tips. So it's not for tips of the ship. I went down to the place and I told them what my letter said. I read my letter to them. They said, Mr. G, we only have stage from now on, but when we get to St. Thomas, the Virgin Island, you may have first class because someone disboxed in St. Thomas. I accepted it. I went back to my friend Abdullah and I told him, AB, it worked. I'm going on the 6th of December, but I have to go Sish until we hit St. Thomas, and then we go first class to Barbados. You know what he said to me? He said, who's talking of going to Barbados? You have gone to Barbados and you went first class. Well, what are you going to do with a man like that? I went straight to the boat on the morning of the 6th, expecting I would go stage to V, to the Virgin Islands, when the man said to me, Mr. Goddard, we have a nice surprise for you. We had a cancellation, and so now you're going first class. He wasn't surprised. I wouldn't even call him to tell him because he was not given that way. He was trying to teach me a lesson. You believe in God. Believe in me also. But the one speaking as God is the God in you. Your own wonderful human imagination. If you say, I believe in God, everyone here believes in God, but do you believe in your own wonderful human imagination as God? If the word God conveys the sense of an existence, something outside of you, you have the wrong God, because you are the temple of the living God, and the Spirit of God dwells in you. Well, if He's in me, find out who He is and where He is. Well, I have found Him to be my own wonderful human imagination. That's the God in me is the God in you. And may I tell you, He cannot fail. He will not fail. But here on this level, we are the Opa when it comes to the law, when it comes to the promise that is coming, regardless of the life we live in this world. But I be rich or poor, be the judge or the one being judged, the murderer or the victim, regardless of what part I play in this world. The promise is not condition, it is unconditional. God promised to redeem himself when he became man, so my fitness for the kingdom of God is not the condition when I am making myself good. It is the consequence, not the condition, of his choice when he called me into the kingdom. So let no one frighten you that you're doing things that's going to stop you from entering the kingdom. It is not conditioned by anything you do in this world. The only condition is on the law. I can say that if I go in a certain direction, I will not income to certain things. If I dare to assume that I am what I want to be, and I am faithful to that assumption, it will come to pass. If I am not faithful to it, it will not come to pass. If I don't assume that I am, it will not come to pass. So I am the offering power when it comes to the law, but when it comes to the promise that is coming, regardless of what you do or where you are or anything in this world, everyone will be redeemed. But everyone but. Here, when it comes to the law, Spain, all your time while you are here, because the other is working, it's coming. So while you are here, take the law and try to understand it and try to apply it wisely. Why not live well? Why not live graciously? Why not be a kind person, a generous person in the world? Why not be a gentleman? Why not be a lady? These are tremendous accomplishments for a man and for a woman in this world. So I say to everyone, while you are here, find out what the law is all about, because you can't deceive yourself, because the law will not allow you to. As you reap the things in this world, you may not deny. You may deny that you planted them, but it couldn't happen by accident. So be not deceived, God is not mocked. For as a man SS, so shall he reap, and he reaping everything morning, no tea night. I may not remember my sowing and deny the harvest that is mine, but it's there. And I've got to accept it. Let me now try to remember, when did I plant this? Maybe I can't bring it back. We have very short and faulty memories, and I can't quite remember when I planted that seed. By the morning's paper, as you read, these horrible stories would tell you. When you planted it, you do not know the character spoken of in the paper, yet you react, and that reaction was in itself the planting of a seed. You pass judgment on those that you read about, you read the gossip of the paper, and your passing judgment and all of your imaginal reactions are planting seeds, instead of spending your wonderful time and investing it by, say, reading the Bible or reading a poem. Read something that is altogether lovely. You spend our time on the paper or the radio bulletin or the TV, and all day long we simply putting into our mind ideas that must come to harvest, and when they come we deny that we planted them. But here on this principle of the law, you can be what you want to be in this world. I don't care what the world would tell you, can start from scratch. And if you dare to assume that you are wanted in this world, you will be wanted. I am not a member of any club in the land, and yet here I, an American citizen today by adoption, and yet wonderful men and women in this land have never been allowed to enter certain clubs. I'm speaking of clubs I know well back in New York City, and yet a stranger have gone as an honored guest to almost every one of them, because I never barred myself. It never occurred to me that I didn't have all the qualifications to enter as a guest. I have no desire to become a member, none. Yet I have gone to all of these clubs. They came to my meeting and asked me for dinner, and they took me to the club or asked me for some other purpose to go to the club. So not a thing in me allowed me to be bored, because I didn't bore myself. You can go any place in this world if you don't put these barriers on yourself. It's entirely up to you. God in you is your own wonderful being called your human imagination. In the 4 weeks that I'm gone, practice it morning, noon, and night. And long before the 4 weeks, you should show the fruit. I'm serious about it. You should bear the fruit of planting now. Not everything takes a month. Not everything takes a year to grow. Some things come up overnight. And you can plant it now, this very moment, by daring to believe that you are what at the moment reason deny and your senses deny. I'm actually feeling, give it the tones of reality and then drop it. You don't pick it up tomorrow morning to see if it's growing. You accept it, and in His own good time, it comes to fruition in your world. That is the law.